Hey y'all, I'm back with another video. This one is on Venus and Scorpio, and I'm thinking about doing a whole series on Venus through the signs. So let me know what you think. If you would like me to do a whole series on Venus through the signs, let me know. So before I get into Venus and Scorpio, I do want to announce that there's still time to purchase a ticket for the Lunar Nodes workshop that I will be hosting. So the Lunar Nodes Resolve and Evolve is the next workshop that's coming up. It will take place on Sunday, October 20th. So, in this workshop, I will provide my real world interpretations of the North and South nodes, interpretations of the nodes through the signs and houses will be discussed. I will be providing some real world examples using the charts of some famous people. And upon completion of the workshop, you will receive a personalized lunar nodal reading that will discuss how the nodes are impacting your life. So if you would like some real world knowledge on how the nodes operate, you definitely want to consider taking this workshop. Like I said, you still have time to purchase a ticket, and I will leave a link in the chat as well as in the description. So let's get into Venus in Scorpio. So I created a PowerPoint presentation. I love creating PowerPoint presentations. So I was, Googling a bunch of images, and I had put in coffin nails because coffin Scorpio. So I ended up finding this particular image, and the way this woman is holding her fingers, it looks like a spider. You know, how this with these two fingertips right here would be the spider's eyes, and this would be the spider's legs. So then I thought about the nursery rhyme, Little Miss Muffet. So Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider who sat down beside her and frightened Miss Muffet away. And I was thinking, well, she must have had Venus and Scorpio, because a Venus and Scorpio individual could actually attract spiders and insects and flies and all types of those creepy crawlies. And some Venus and Scorpio individuals are actually drawn to the creepy crawlies and reptiles like snakes and frogs and all that, all the like dark stuff in terms of the animal world. So I felt that this nursery rhyme was very apropos for Venus and Scorpio. Now, I had Google searched intense feelings, and I came upon this image. The word is numinous, and I never heard of this word before. So it means describing an experience that makes you fearful yet fascinated, awed yet attracted, the powerful personal experience of being overwhelmed and inspired. So to me, that's very Venus in Scorpio, numinous. Venus in Scorpio can produce intense feelings, intense affections, intense reactions. So it's very hard for a Venus in Scorpio individual to be neutral. So things tend to be intense in their lives. How deep is your love? That's very Venus and Scorpio. So, how far are you willing to go to prove your love to someone, or to prove your devotion, or to demonstrate your loyalty? That's very Venus and Scorpio. I always say that Venus and Scorpio is looking for that ride or die type of partner, that partner's that's going to be with them through thick and thin, when times get rough, when the shit hits the fan. So Venus and Scorpio is often in it for the long haul, because that bond is formed, and that bond is often very hard to break. So how deep is your love is very apropos for Venus and Scorpio. And on the dark end, you could end up going off on the deep end when you have Venus and Scorpio, if you're not careful in terms of love and relationships, or just your affections in general. Love hate. So Venus and Scorpio has this whole love hate dichotomy thing with it. So again, the feelings, the affections, the taste even are very intense. The senses are very intense. So either a Venus and Scorpio person will very much love something intensely, or they will hate it intensely. Rarely there's any neutrality. Rarely there's any type of happy medium. So either it's love or hate. And sometimes that can be dealing with the same person, the same object of their affection. It could be love 1 minute, hate the next minute. So that whole love, hate, those two extremes are very much Venus and Scorpio. Mystery. So Venus and Scorpio people, they could come across as mysterious. A lot of them don't like putting all their cards on the table. Some of them can come across as enigmas. And also a Venus and Scorpio individual could attract someone who is a mystery in terms of a partnership. And they may be drawn to mystery and mysterious people because they like to figure people and things out. So that whole mystery thing is very much Venus and Scorpio. And being an investigator goes right along with it. So that's why Venus and Scorpio is drawn to mystery or mysterious people, because that enables them to utilize their investigative skills. So they can go off on the deep end in terms of the whole mystery and being suspicious to the point where it leads to paranoia and unwarranted suspicions. So Venus and Scorpio really needs to keep that in check because it can get out of hand. It can go too far. And Venus in Scorpio is very all consuming when in a relationship or just when dealing with something that they like. So they can become very consumed with a person, place, or thing. They could attract a partner who is all consuming. So this partner comes into their life and basically consumes their entire life, where the person starts acting differently or they start liking different things. Um, for the Venus and Scorpio individual, a partner could come into your life and cause you to transform your life in certain ways that you never even imagined. So know that you will be changed in profound ways through your relationships as a Venus and Scorpio individual. The green eye monster, otherwise known as envy. The green eye monster is also associated with jealousy and they go hand in hand. So Venus and Scorpio individuals, they do have a tendency to be envious of others' success, envy, envying what other people have, or if they're not of that sort, they can attract people in their life that are jealous, that are envious of them. So Venus and Scorpio individuals always have to, keep that in check. And if you find as a Venus and Scorpio individual that you are attracting people who are very jealous of you or envious or whatever, then you know that, perhaps you need to keep your distance with these type of people. Obsession, of course, Venus and Scorpio can lead to obsessions. So you could become obsessed with a person, obsessed with a place, obsessed with a thing, and obsession, of course, can easily get out of hand. So Venus and Scorpio people need to always keep that in check. Also, you can attract a partner that has obsessions. You can attract a person that is obsessed with you. So Venus and Scorpio can be rather dangerous in certain respects. And Venus is in detriment when in Scorpio, and this is one of the reasons why. It's very hard to achieve balance when Venus is in Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio will also attract haters. So if you're not a hater yourself with that Venus in Scorpio, you could easily attract haters. So you could have haters in the workplace, or your partner could be a hater. They could be hating on you whenever you become successful, whenever you do well, or whatever like that. And it could be a secret hate. So like this says, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping, bitch. So a lot of times, you have haters for a reason, and it's because they want what you have, or they're hating on you because of your success, whatnot. Support. Venus in Scorpio is very much about receiving support and also lending others support. So Venus in Taurus, which is the opposite sign of Scorpio, is more self-sufficient. It's more about, making their own way, earning their own money. But Venus and Scorpio is more so about support, collaboration, teaming up with others, bonding with others. So Venus and Scorpio does much better when they are supported, when they are able to collaborate with others than operating on their own. But the dark side of support is codependency. And also you can throw in there parasitic partners. So Venus and Scorpio can end up in a relationship with a codependent, or they could be the codependent, and they can easily attract parasitic people, psychic vampires, people that want to suck the life out of them, people that want to siphon off their energy. So you always got to be very selective in terms of who you choose to be around, who you choose to partner up with. And a Venus and Scorpio relationship could last quite a while, and codependency could be one of the reasons why. So while you could be in a toxic, unhealthy relationship, it can be very hard to break free because Scorpio creates that bond that can be nearly inseparable. Binging. So Venus and Scorpio, in some cases, can produce binge behaviors or binging. So Venus represents food, sustenance, and Scorpio is the sign of the binge. So Venus and Scorpio individuals could be prone to binging on occasion. This is a YouTuber named B Loves Life, and she has these videos where she has these mukbangs where she's eating all this food. But in my opinion, I feel that mukbang is a euphemism for binge eating. Like, how is this different from binge eating? So eating can get out of control with Venus and Scorpio, but anything that brings the person pleasure can get out of control. So you could binge on sex, you could binge on drugs, or you could binge on, buying clothes. Binging and purging. So one of the dark manifestations of Venus and Scorpio is bulimia. So, and not all Venus and Scorpios are prone to this, but this is one of the darker manifestations. So binging on food and then purging or vomiting it up. A lot of times this afflicts women that have Venus and Scorpio. Choking. So Venus and Scorpio individuals are at risk of choking at some point. So choking on food, choking on drink, choking on whatever they put in their mouth. Now, there is a sexual side to this because some Venus and Scorpio individuals are into the whole choking thing during sex. So that's part of their whole kink. But there may come a time, if you have Venus and Scorpio, that you choke on some food or you choke on something that you have in your mouth. It could be a pin, and then the pin cap falls off, and then next thing you know, gets lodged in your throat. So Venus and Scorpio people, you need to be careful about what you put in your mouth. Also with Venus and Scorpio, you could end up being choked out by somebody. So a partner could, suspect you of cheating or catch you cheating. Next thing you know, they got their hands around your neck, choking the life out of you. Now, Venus and Scorpio could get money in a number of ways that they don't have to earn. So, unearned income is very much a part of Venus and Scorpio. So, one of the ways that a Venus and Scorpio individual can get money is through marrying up. Now, you have Eve here. Her sun is in Scorpio. I'm not sure if her Venus is in Scorpio, but that Scorpio energy alone can enable somebody to easily marry up. Now, while Venus and Scorpio can produce problems in a relationship such as infidelity, jealousy, control issues, it can result in being able to attract partners who do very well financially and where you are able to benefit a great deal as a result of partnering up with them, getting married, what have you. Also, note, like I said before, your life will be changed in some profound ways as a result of partnering up with people when you have Venus and Scorpio. You can also get money through an insurance settlement or a lawsuit if you have Venus and Scorpio. So that's another benefit, but you might have to sacrifice, an arm or a leg, like you might get injured or whatever, but you might be having a big check coming to you. Also, I always recommend my Venus and Scorpio clients to play the lottery, play contests or enter contests, enter sweepstakes, buy raffle tickets, hell, go on a game show, because there is a high chance that you're going to get a substantial amount of money at some point. So Venus and Scorpio individuals, they can easily attract money through unearned sources, like I said. So contests, sweepstakes, raffles, definitely Venus and Scorpio individuals need to get in on that. And also they can make money through rental property, um, also through consignment, things like that, licensing deals, all that. All that is Venus and Scorpio. Also, Venus and Scorpio individual may get money through an inheritance, or they may have to deal with some type of issue involving a will at some point. So that's very Venus and Scorpio. Scorpio deals with death, and it deals with the matters surrounding death, including wills, testaments, inheritances. Another dark manifestation of Venus and Scorpio is revenge. So, as a Venus and Scorpio individual, you could be very vengeful. If you're not of that type, you're going to project that energy onto the people in your life. So, you could attract a partner who is very vengeful, very vindictive, who will fuck up your car during a breakup, who will mess up your stuff, damage your property, all types of stuff, put a hex on you, even. So a person that is associated with Venus and Scorpio, whether they're the partner or whether they're the native themselves, could go to extremes in terms of getting payback, in terms of exacting revenge. Soulmate unions and relationships. So Venus and Scorpio can produce soulmate relationships. Maybe perhaps most, if not all, of the relationships will be with soulmates. Now, I strongly believe that you don't just get one soulmate in your lifetime. I believe that you come across a few, if not more, soulmates. And basically, soulmate to me means that you just shared a past life with this individual, and they've come back into your current life to either rectify or resolve certain issues that you had in your past life together. And it doesn't always have to be a romantic union. It could be a situation between coworkers or employee boss, mother child, siblings, what have you. So, or, best friends even. So the whole soulmate theme comes along with Venus and Scorpio. And just think about how Scorpio deals with regeneration. So a relationship could be regenerated from a past life, but also in this current life you could have a relationship with someone who's not your soulmate, but that relationship keeps on regenerating. Or maybe they are your soulmate, but it regenerates over and over again in this current lifetime. So it could be that breakup to makeup type of thing. Often people who have Venus and Scorpio will have an ex that tries to come back into their life at some point. So again, it's very hard to fully break ties with a person when you have Venus and Scorpio. The personal trainer theme is very Venus and Scorpio, even in terms of relationships. So, one of the benefits of having Venus and Scorpio is you can attract partners who will help to uplift you, who will help to empower you, who will help you to transform your life for the better. And that makes me think of personal trainers, how personal trainers will help you to cross new thresholds and overcome limitations so that you can be your best self. So that's very much Venus and Scorpio. So that's one of the pluses of a Venus and Scorpio relationship. Psychiatric help. So, with Venus and Scorpio, you could attract partners who are in need of some type of psychiatric help, who are in need of therapy, and they might look to you to be their therapist. On the flip side, as a Venus and Scorpio individual, you may be in need of psychotherapy at some point in your life. So, you could attract partners who are psychologically unhinged, and that whole psychology theme comes into play, and next thing you know, you're reading a bunch of books about psychopaths or sociopaths because you got with this psychopathic type of partner. Venus and Scorpio can be rather dark in terms of partnerships at times. You could attract a criminal, you could attract just a plain old psycho. Also, with Venus and Scorpio, you could attract a stalker. Or on the flip side, you could be the stalker. Or it could be a little bit of both. In one relationship, you're the one stalking. In another relationship, you're attracting a stalker. So that whole stalking theme goes hand in hand with the fact that it's hard to fully break ties with someone when Venus and Scorpio is involved. And it also deals with that whole obsession thing, the control, all of that. Also, Venus and Scorpio can produce that whole 50 Shades of Gray type of relationship where, like I said, Venus and Scorpio, some of them are into choking in terms of sex, or they're into the darker forms of sex, such as BSDM and S&M and, getting spanked and handcuffed and all that. But on the darker end, you could be in one of those 50 Shades of OJ relationships where you end up getting killed, or you were brought to an end of your life, or where at least your partner is plotting upon your death, or plotting on your death, or he might catch you cheating and then choke you out, like I said. So you got to be very careful of the partners that you attract with Venus and Scorpio, because it's no joke. You could be at that point of no return with a partner. Now let's get into some famous Venus and Scorpio individuals, starting with Gianni Versace. He was murdered by a guy that was obsessed with him. So that's Venus and Scorpio all day. His name was Andrew Cunanan. I will be doing a case study on Gianni Versace because I have some theories about what really went down with that. So he's definitely on my list of case studies to do. But just look at his designs. Very Venus and Scorpio, very bold, intense, also very cutting edge, where he was very influential as a designer. He was so influential that he had a lot of celebrities supporting him, and he was rubbing elbows with A-listers and all that type of stuff. And where some of those knockoff companies were copying his styles and trying to sell them and pass them off as real Versace items. Here's another image of him. Just look at these two dresses, very Venus and Scorpio. The dresses are provocative, that black color, and also where he's putting his signature look on it. Jay-Z has Venus and Scorpio. Now, Venus and Scorpio individuals can be rather ruthless when it comes to getting money. Also, this points to him collaborating with others in terms of his rap career, but also in terms of business deals. So he's a big time collaborator, and that is largely responsible for him being the multimillionaire. Some people say he's a billionaire now. I believe with Beyonce's money, he's a billionaire. Also, Venus and Scorpio can produce a power couple. So him and Beyonce being that power couple is definitely fitting for Venus and Scorpio. Also, him being very vengeful. So when he was younger, he shot his brother because his brother stole one of his jewelry pieces from him. I'm not sure if it was a watch or a ring or a necklace or whatever. But yeah, so Venus and Scorpio can be very vengeful. If somebody takes what they have, they could be out for blood. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jay-Z got some bodies attached to him as a result of his dealings with that Venus and Scorpio. Also, just look how Jay-Z is transforming his look, where he's looking much different than how he looked back in the day. He's growing these dreads. He's really evolving in terms of his style, which I don't like, by the way. I'm kind of repulsed by it. And Venus and Scorpio can produce repulsions and also revulsions. Charles Manson had Venus and Scorpio. That makes a lot of sense because he was able to wield a lot of power and influence over others. And he's a Scorpio sun, so that Venus and Scorpio simply intensified his Scorpio ways. Hillary Clinton has Venus and Scorpio. She's another Scorpio sun, so that Venus and Scorpio just intensifies her Scorpio nature. And she has been rumored to be a witch, which can be very Venus and Scorpio or just Scorpio period. So I wouldn't put it past her. It's not very far-fetched if you really know what Hillary Clinton is about and if you really have studied her history. And she has some bodies attached to her too, her and Bill Clinton. Ted Bundy is another Venus and Scorpio individual, very dark person. He was a serial killer. He would rape women and then bludgeon them to death. And then he would return back to the scene of the crime sometimes and have sex with the women's bodies or masturbate over them or whatever. Very sick, psychopathic individual. Usher has Venus in Scorpio. Now, Usher is a Libra with Venus in Scorpio. And if you remember, Usher was sued by women because they claimed that he gave them herpes. But as of late, I think he's suing one of those women that accused him of that. But I wouldn't be surprised if he really does have herpes and some other diseases because Venus and Scorpio individuals can easily attract bacterial infections, sexually transmitted diseases, parasites, all manner of nasty stuff. And he was very hypersexual from what I gathered. I think he was like into, engaging in orgies and all this type of stuff. Avril Lavigne has Venus in Scorpio, and her style very much is a testament to that. Also, Nas has Venus in Scorpio, and when you think about his relationship with Khalees, it makes a lot of sense. He has this intense hatred for Khalees at this point. Also, the custody battle, the child support that he has to pay to Khalees, all that stuff. So that's very much Venus in Scorpio. And he nicknamed himself Nasty Nas, which is very Venus in Scorpio, even though he's a Virgo. Cardi B has Venus in Scorpio. Now, her style is very bold and intense, so that makes a lot of sense. And also, remember, she was rumored to be robbing those dudes that she was hooking up with, so that's very Venus in Scorpio as well. And she receives a lot of hate, which is Venus in Scorpio. Jeffree Star. Jeffree has been known to be a hater with his Venus in Scorpio, but also look at his intense makeup. It's damn near demonic. Look at the tattoos. So Jeffree is a Scorpio sun, and with that Venus in Scorpio, that just intensifies the Scorpio energy. Marina Abramovich. So Marina Abramovich, I believe she's a Sagittarius with her Venus in Scorpio. Makes a lot of sense. She's heavily into the occult. She's an occultist, mind you, and she's into black magic and doing all these rituals and spells and stuff like this. Very dark character. So the fact that she has Venus in Scorpio makes a lot of sense. She's also very influential in the abstract art world or performance art world. Snoop Dogg has Venus in Scorpio. Remember that whole murder was the case that they gave me type of shit. So yeah, him having to face that murder charge, which he was acquitted of, is very Venus in Scorpio. Also, he has collaborated with a lot of other artists throughout his career. He's even collaborated with Martha Stewart and other people. So he has evolved over the years as well in terms of his style and in terms of the company that he keeps. Kris Jenner has Venus in Scorpio. Now, she's one of the marrying up type Venus and Scorpio individuals because she married up when she first married Rob Kardashian, who was this big time defense attorney. She also married up when she married Bruce Jenner. And the fact that Bruce Jenner is now Caitlyn Jenner is very much Venus and Scorpio as well. So her having a partner that transforms himself in a way where he is basically not the same person anymore. Serena Williams has Venus in Scorpio. Just look at her fashion choices, look at her style, very Venus in Scorpio. So she's a Libra with that Venus in Scorpio. That Venus in Scorpio makes her very thorough as an athlete, very much about, go hard or go home, giving it her all, being about that power and strength. Tiger Woods is another Venus in Scorpio individual, and he's very thorough when it comes to his sport, golf. But also think about the trouble that he got into with his marriage. I forget what his ex-wife is named, but remember she took that golf club to his car and damaged his car. But that's because she found out that he was cheating with all these different women. I think he was, um, patronizing prostitutes and stuff. And I think this one prostitute or stripper or whatever blackmail him and all this type of stuff. And he had to pay a lot in alimony, I believe. So that's very Venus in Scorpio. And he is an intense individual. So very Venus in Scorpio. And Marie Antoinette, she's from the olden days. She's from the French Revolution. So her, along with King Louis, actually got decapitated because they basically ran France into the ground in terms of the economy. So she was very intense in terms of her style, fashion choices, and she was very obsessed with having the best in life. She spent money like it was going out of style, and she was the target of hate. The French population hated her guts, so they were calling for her death, her and King Louis. So that is my take on Venus and Scorpio. Of course, there's other manifestations, but these are some of the main manifestations of Venus and Scorpio. Let me know what you think in the live chat, also the comments section. And if you would like a reading, you could go to my website at rabina.com. And again, there's still time to purchase a ticket for my Lunar Nodes workshop. So if you want the real deal on the Lunar Nodes and how they can impact your life, you definitely want to consider purchasing a ticket. I'm leaving the link in the chat as well as the description section. I'm just going to let this video roll a little bit so you could continue to post your comments in the chat section, because once the video stops rolling, then you won't be able to chat it up anymore. So I'm gonna just let this keep rolling, but I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is being productive during this Venus and Scorpio time, and share your experiences with Venus and Scorpio, whether you have it yourself or whether you've been in a relationship with somebody that had Venus and Scorpio, or let me know what your thoughts are about Venus and Scorpio in general. So I dated a guy that had Venus and Scorpio, and he was an intense individual. And one thing about him that I found to be quite comical was that he was very much into scents and smells and colors. So, just to be frank, he was obsessed with the smell of vagina. So, I'll just put it that way. So, that's very Venus and Scorpio in and of itself, because Venus deals with the senses and Scorpio deals with the genitals. So I just thought that was quite comical, but he kind of took it too far, I feel, the way he would go on about it and stuff like that. So yes, he was very much intense with his whole attraction to that scent. So let me know if you known anybody else with Venus and Scorpio where they're very much into certain scents, especially bodily scents. So you might even have some Venus and Scorpio individuals that are attracted to body odor, like just, a sweaty body or whatever like that. Hell, some of the dark sided Venus and Scorpio people could have a fart fetish, just to keep it real. Some of them could have a scat fetish, just to keep it real. Now, of course, I'm talking about the dark, dark side of Venus and Scorpio. So, what are some other dark manifestations of Venus and Scorpio, if you could think of any? So again, I'm just letting this run out, trying to think of any other Venus and Scorpio stories I have. I can't think of any offhand, but I'm gonna let this run. I'll probably just be silent for a minute, let this run out so that you can get your thoughts out, all that type of stuff. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to end the video here. And again, if you would like a reading, just go to my website, rabina.com. I do tarot readings, astrological charts, so natal charts, synastry charts, solar returns, phone readings. So take your pick, go to my website so you can see a full list of my services. I have some already listed on the homepage, but if just click order a reading up at the top or right underneath those offerings that I have listed on my homepage so you can see a full list of my services. I will be back with some more videos. Peace and many blessings.